What are GMOs? It's a buzzword in society today, heard from a multitude of media outlets, but many people don't actually know what it stands for. GMOs stands for Genetically Modified Organisms. GMOs have had their genetic material manipulated through genetic engineering. Millions of Americans are consuming products daily without any knowledge that they contain GMOs, and others are demanding the removal of any GMOs from their food altogether. The real question is, how are they utilized, and what threat do they pose to humans? To begin, there are 5 general types of GMOs. The first one, insect resistance. Pests destroy crops, which decrease yields and increase production costs. Before GMOs, some farmers imported pesticides. The price of production was high due to the costs of manufacturing, transportation, and application. Some of these pesticides are also ruled to be unhealthy for humans and animals. Therefore, scientists have genetically engineered seeds to produce proteins that are harmful to insects. BT plants, for example, contain a gene from the bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis. This gene produces a toxin fatal to caterpillars and other insects. The next type of GMO is the herbicidal resistance. An herbicide is a chemical that destroys weeds. Weeds compete with the crops for nutrients, water, sunlight, and space. Some weeds and crops are very similar biologically, so an herbicide needed to be created to destroy unwanted weeds, but also keep the plant unharmed. The third type of GMOs are designed to improve nutrient content. Humans are incapable of producing several necessary vitamins that therefore must be consumed through their diets. While fruits and vegetables often contain most of these vitamins, they are costly in comparison to staple crops, such as rice that support the majority of the population. The staple crops are cheaper, but lack the nutrition content required for a healthy lifestyle. This dilemma left scientists wanting to close this gap by genetically modifying the cheap staple crops with the nutrients that are provided by fruits and vegetables. One example of this type of GMO is golden rice. This rice has the DNA modified so that it produces the vitamin A nutrient. While the GMO is not distributed currently, it has been successfully tested to resist disease in individuals who have a vitamin A deficiency. The fourth type of GMO is disease resistant. Diseases are very common among plants that are in large fields and have low genetic diversity between them. In traditional breeding, it would take years for the crops to be disease resistant. But with genetical engineering, this process can be sped up by simply planting GMO seeds from the start, which already have a defense system built in. The fifth and final type of GMO is the post-harvest improvement. 2 major challenges in the farming industry are storage and distribution. Most crops need to be transported, which means the seeds need to be strong enough to withstand the travel. Therefore, in this GMO, the seed becomes firm and tough, so the seed is able to be moved for long distances, in turn allowing farmers to send their crops farther with a higher durability.
GMOs have undergone genetical engineering. But what does this mean? When a plant is a GE plant, a donor DNA strand is extracted from an organism and is copied. The donor is then combined with the recipient to get the desired form of DNA. Only the desired gene is transferred to a location in the recipient genome. In this way, the plant's growth will most likely dramatically improve. Okay, now we have explained what a GMO is and the types of it. But are these safe and healthy for humans? Most GMOs that are on the market are not considered to be safe. Many countries have applied restrictions or bans to prevent people from buying GMOs. The United States have not been one of these countries, but they have required corporations, the same ones who make the products and the same ones who profit from them, to prove the product is safe for the consumers. Americans are given the option to whether they want to consume the product that has been modified or if they rather choose a more naturalistic route. While Americans have this choice, the companies are not required to label their products or to release to the public that a GMO experiment has been tested on it. But what about the FDA? Don't they have to ensure that our food is safe? Well, the FDA uses the term genetically engineered to describe plants that have been manipulated to enhance growth. These plants have also undergone biotechnological changes rather than the traditional breeding of plants. Therefore, the FDA regulates the food and ingredients made from GE plants. The FDA teams up with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and Environmental Protection Agency to regulate the food. USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service is responsible for protecting agriculture and pests and diseases. They also must ensure that the GE plants don't pose as a threat to other plants. EPA regulates pesticides to ensure that they are safe for humans and animal consumption, as well as the environment. While the FDA takes a role in protecting our food, there is a question on whether someone is behind the door making sure GMOs are improved. Michael Taylor, for example, in 1976 became a staff attorney for the FDA. Then he joined a law attorney representing Monsanto, one of the largest GMO distributing corporations. Then he returned back to FDA, where he regulated the use of Monsanto's genetically engineered growth hormone. He got promoted into the USDA before he switched jobs back to Monsanto. Now he has returned to the FDA and is holding the second most powerful position there. Currently, he is supporting the deregulation of GMOs.
The three main companies that control the GMO industry are DuPont, Monsanto, and Syngenta. These companies produce propaganda videos to convince the farmers that these seeds will allow them to feed more people and end malnourishment. The United States is producing double the amount of food that it needs to feed for its population. Therefore, the companies are using this propaganda to brainwash people into thinking that the world can no longer survive on just organic farming. This, though, is a lie, because although organic farming takes more time, there has been no proof to whether these genetically modified plants are safe to eat. It can be seen in any case that these companies are only after one thing, and that's money. They have led many court cases against farmers in the past 10 years. The companies have placed a patent on their seed technology. Therefore, farmers cannot reuse any seeds produced by their plants. They must purchase new seeds from the company if they wish to continue using the GMOs. Monsanto has about 4,000 patents in the United States and 7,000 worldwide. Vernon Hugh Bowman in 2013 was a 75-year-old farmer that lived in Indiana. He planted some GE soybeans seeds from last year's crops. Monsanto sued him because these soybeans were from the Roundup Ready seeds grown by the corporation. The court ordered Bowman to pay $84,000 to the corporation. This has raised the issue, should anyone or any corporation have the ability to control a living organism? Another question is, what are these companies exactly trying to hide? Back in 2012, Monsanto also tried to sue the state of Vermont for requiring them to put labels on their products that have been genetically engineered. These companies know if the consumer sees an apple that has a GMO sticker on it next to an apple that is organic, they are most likely to purchase the organic apple and not the genetically modified one. Most of the public is also unaware as to what GMOs are, and due to the question of whether they are nutritious or not, will anyone still want to consume products with them in it? The question over GMOs are still unanswered. Now it is up to the consumers. The only way to avoid GMOs are to find produce that is organic, like those found at Whole Foods. The only way to force these companies to reveal what's in their seeds is to not consume their products at all until the truth is revealed.